Hi, I'm Laura from TooeleTV, and I'm here at Stansbury High School with Terron James, who is an author and teaches workshops at the high school. So, what are your workshops? What do they consist of?
Well, it depends on the style of class, who's in it, and what the focus of the class is. Here in Stansbury High School, I've worked with 7 different classes, from 10th grade honors English classes to senior classes. There's a sci-fi class or a creative writing class. So the focus of those workshops kind of depends on the class. The fantasy and creative writing classes, we spend a lot of time talking about the intricacies of writing and how to publish yourself, maybe through indie publishing or writing query letters to agents. Where with the other, like the honors English classes and the senior classes, we focus more on the core aspects of writing and how to make your literature more appealing, and also how to gain a love for literature.
Okay.
At the same time.
Do you teach like once a week or for a whole week? How are they structured?
I customize it to whatever the teacher's hoping for. In this school, I actually had a unique circumstance where I spent 4 full days here, spending two class periods with each class. But with all the other circumstances, I usually do just a 1-day workshop from 2 to 4 hours, and I've also done a couple of assemblies as well.
Oh, cool. What other schools have you gone to?
I think I've done 8 schools, with a couple in the making. I've come here to Stansbury High School. We've also worked at Rose Springs Elementary School. Over in Salt Lake County, I spent some time at Orchard Elementary School in a couple of classrooms, and I've also toured down to southern Utah and Cedar City area. I went to a few schools down there as well. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you've taught all over the place.
Yeah. And I've even done a charter school,
oh, yeah?
Paradigm High School in West Jordan, or
wow.
South Jordan, I think. But yeah.
Can you give a ballpark estimate of how many students you've taught?
Probably around 2,000 so far.
Wow.
In the last 3 months or so.
That's great.
I've had a good time.
Awesome. So obviously you organize the classes differently for different classes and what they're learning. Is there a specific goal that you have in mind for the students while you're teaching the classes?
Yes. Going into every class, my main focus, inspiring a love for literature across the world, one community at a time. So when I go into every classroom, my overarching goal is to get those kids to love literature, whether it's creating it or reading it, just to understand how fun it is and how interpersonal it will be for the rest of their lives.
Right. So do you teach them about reading or about different types of books and things like that, or just writing?
Most of my workshop is on writing, because I think that's what students might struggle more to appreciate. And I think as they gain an appreciation for writing, they're also learning to love what they're reading at the same time. So,
right.
I've volunteered at the Tooele County Youth Services to help with those students that are trying to find a career path to pursue. But yeah, every workshop I've done thus far has been free, and whatever I can do to help.
Oh, that's great.
And I mean, I will never turn my nose up at any opportunity, but I would say I try to go for larger crowds so that I can impact as many students as possible at the same time.
Do you teach younger kids, I guess, younger students?
As of now, I've done workshops and assemblies from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So obviously you have to change according to the audience.
Very much, yeah. I mean, when I did an assembly for a kindergarten through 3rd grade class age range, I had to give them chants that if they heard me say a special word, they'd have to do this chant. So it keeps them paying attention and getting involved with what's happening. So,
that's really creative. What age group do you like working with best, or do you think is most inspiring or inspired by what you teach?
Oh, that's a tough question, kind of a double-edged sword, because I think the younger they are, the more moldable they are. That I can have a greater impact on them. But I feel like with the older kids, if I can break through their barriers they throw up, those are the ones I'm really trying to focus on, is the teenage group, because they're the ones that seem to struggle the most with their appreciation for the written word.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you add on to your workshops? Do you come up with new things? Do you learn anything as you're teaching them?
Yes. Actually, in Stansbury High School, when I was here for those 4 days, I mean, even from the first day of doing the workshops, I came back with a new approach to new things I was going to try with the students the next day. So it's a constantly evolving process. So.
And
yeah.
do you use mostly things you've learned you use in your writing, or have you gone to other classes, use other people's knowledge of writing? And
I've never had what you would call formal training to do this. The curriculum I've developed is all from my own experiences. I'll use a variation of different things. One thing that I like to do in the workshops is a Mad Lib, just because they're entertaining to capture the student's attention, but at the same time it really focuses on the importance of every single word in a story and how one word can completely change the dynamic of it. So those are entertaining to use and effective as well.
Yeah, so you have to constantly come up with things to get people's attention, get them attracted to writing and doing this.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Animate
great. Yeah. Do you have any advice for parents to help their kids in writing?
Yeah, I would say if you're trying to get your child to appreciate literature, I'd say the best thing you can do is get them reading. Sometimes in schools it can be daunting because you feel like you have all these books, some that might be more challenging than others that you're studying, and sometimes we forget how fun it can be just to read and without having to try and study and search and grasp all the concepts for some kind of comprehensive exam. So that by far is the best thing a parent can do for their student. And if they want them to be able to write better, I would say give them more opportunities to write, because writing is just like playing any sport. If you want to be better at basketball, you can study the pros and watch as many games as you want, but until you get out on the court and start shooting free throws, you're never going to get any better at it. And it's the exact same thing with writing. And what you start with may be exciting, but it's probably not going to be your best work in your whole life. So a parent can encourage and be excited and a cheerleader for their child as they continue to write more and learn what they're best at and where their skills lie.
Definitely. So if a school wanted you to come and do a workshop with the students, how would they get in contact with you?
Probably the easiest way is just through my website. I have contact information right on the side. My website's terronjames.com, and my email is authorterronjames@gmail.com. I check that multiple times a day, and I pride myself on quick responses and good correlations. So.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Hi, I'm talking now with Tracy Langlie, a teacher at Stansbury High School. How long have you been teaching?
This will be my 5th year this year.
Okay, and what subject?
I teach English.
English, all right. To high school students?
Yes.
How's that?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Okay, so I heard that you have had Terron James over to do workshops in your class. How does that work?
The reason I actually got in contact with him was because another teacher of mine, another colleague, suggested that I get in contact because he did these writing workshops and she really enjoyed his novel too. So I said, well, what the heck, I've got English classes and hopefully some of them will maybe be inspired to write a little bit more once I have an actual author come in and talk to them, because it's hard to get people to come in and talk to high school kids because it's kind of daunting. So.
Right.
But it was definitely a good experience. I'm glad that he came in for the 4 days that he did and did the workshop with my kids.
He was here for 4 days?
Yes.
Wow.
Lucky him.
Yeah. So were you covering the same sort of material, or did he come in with a new perspective on writing?
Yep, and that was what I really wanted to see, was that somebody else from another viewpoint in life to come out and tell the kids writing can actually be something that's worthwhile, not just writing these essays or these research papers, but it's actually something that they can do for pleasure and for fun. And that's the whole reason that I brought him in, was to kind of kindle that excitement.
And do you think the kids were kind of inspired by that?
A lot of them were, especially my science fiction fantasy class that I teach. One full day was just them asking him questions, and it was great.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you react having him here teaching your class? It was kind of
refreshing.
different. It was refreshing?
Yeah, it was refreshing. He did some things that I haven't done for a long time that I normally used, at least the strategies he was talking about, the Mad Libs. I normally used that strategy when I was teaching middle school kids because it got them really interested. Maybe I need to go back to making it a little bit more fun for him. It gets kind of dry and boring when you get into the upper levels of high school because you're just trying to teach them other skills that they need. So it's quite refreshing to have him teach my classes for a few days.
So did the workshops help you as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. When he would do there was one particular, I'm trying to think of what he used it, or what he called it. It was one where they just did a free write, and I took participation with that, and I was writing, and the kids were impressed, and it was kind of nice to write, just whatever, instead of having to write on a novel all the time.
Yeah.
Quite refreshing.
What was your favorite thing about the workshop as a whole?
To be honest, it was really nice to have him just talk to the kids about why reading was important. And it's a skill that they're going to need for the rest of their lives to be to take any part in society. And it was really enlightening to see the kids kind of grasp that notion. So that was, I guess, my favorite part of him coming in.
Definitely. Did you grade the students on the workshop, on the work they did?
No. It was all fun.
That's good.
I just wanted them to enjoy having somebody else come in and sort of validate my opinions on things, which was also another good thing that he did. But I didn't grade him, no.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.